Good morning. People ask me, man, how did you get the initial startup when you got into real estate? But like I told people in the video prior to that, I had good credit, built my credit up. I took a loan, and also my mother threw me an alley-oop. Unfortunately, my mother had passed lung cancer. When she passed the lung cancer, she left her 5 children on insurance policy. And under the insurance policy, we got X amount of dollars. So I sit there and gave the money to my sister. At that time, she was in the banking industry, and her husband was a stockbroker. And I gave the money to my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law started investing. Fast forward 3 years, I had a certain amount of money. I called him one day and said, man, hey, I can get some properties in such neighborhood. I said, that a good investment? He said, yes, it's a good investment. So I'm going to let you take some of the money out that you've been investing. So the money that my mother had gave me, it had started accumulating some income because she left a decent nest egg. And I took some of that money and bought two pieces of property. And after I bought them 2 pieces of property, I ended up getting them Section 8 approved and became a Section 8 landlord. Now, both of these pieces of property at that time, I was renting them out for $1,200 apiece. So I was getting $2,400 straight out profit to me outside of paying the property tax and insurance on the properties. And then I went to the bank and took a HELOC out on both pieces of property. By me taking a HELOC on both pieces of property, the bank gave me 60% of the value of each piece of property. Each piece of property at that time, because the housing market crashed, both of them houses were worth $7,500 a piece, $75,000 a piece. So that was $150,000. So I got 60% of $150,000. So I took that money and ended up finding 3 more, I think it was 3 or 4 more foreclosed properties. And by me finding them 3 or 4 more foreclosed properties, all I needed to pay was that one loan off on the HELOC on a piece of property, because I consolidated it into one loan. So now I'm actually having 6 pieces of properties that I'm having rent out at $1,200 a piece. Now we're gonna just round it off, just say $7,000. So I was sitting there making $7,000 a month. I had to still pay the property taxes and the insurance on these properties. But what I did, instead of me being greedy and pocketing all this money, I wanted to accelerate and pay this loan off fast. So I ended up splitting it down the middle, giving the bank $3,500 a month and putting the other money into a nest egg, and half of that into an investment account, and the other half I kept that into a checking account just in case something happened to the property and I had to get them fixed. So that was one of the fastest ways, and also the alley-oop helped me start getting into the real estate, and that put me forward to become a multi-millionaire in investment properties. Peace.